The most excruciating and undoubtedly painful time of the year for a football fan has to be the summer transfer window. For months after the season has ended, expectations are heightened, people are bored, they're waiting for something to happen, and it leads up to pent-up anger and aggression when things aren't necessarily going their way and their club aren't perhaps being as active in the transfer window as they should be. As a Tottenham fan myself, I have of course been getting a little bit annoyed with what's been happening regarding Spurs trying to bring players into the club. So to be honest with you, I just wanted to sit down and give an honest assessment of the transfer window as a whole and my opinion on everything that is wrong with it in the modern age. But first of all, if you are new around here, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. All of your support has been amazing over the last couple of weeks and the growth has been just fantastic to see. So if you can contribute by hitting that subscribe button, it would mean a lot to me. Now, back to the transfer window. One of my biggest grudges about the transfer window in this day and age is that the expectations are so high for every individual club. Even if you look down the Premier League and have a look at clubs, for example, like Brighton or Brentford or Southampton or Nottingham Forest, the expectation from the fans these days is that every summer they need to go out and spend a lot of money to improve their squad. And I appreciate the tactic behind it is to obviously try and keep up with what's going on and some of the top players that other clubs around them are signing. I just feel like it paints an unrealistic picture of what can actually be achieved in one summer transfer window. I genuinely do think there are fans out there that think that their club should go out and sign 10, 11 players to improve all of those positions in the starting 11 when in reality it's just not possible. Even as a Spurs fan who knows that we need to improve the squad and the starting 11, I know that we are probably only really going to sign 2 or 3 starters over one transfer window. I mean, a perfect example of it is Ange Postecoglou saying in one of his press conferences the other day that he doesn't think he's going to get everything done, and he would have been here for over a year now. Tottenham have been linked with strikers in the past couple of days, including Bournemouth's Dominic Solanke and Brentford's Ivan Toney. Still, fans aren't particularly happy about it. When Fabrizio Romano dropped the news that Spurs may only be signing one more attacker this summer, people got very angry about it. And that leads me on to my next sort of qualm and issue with the transfer window, and that is step-by-step updates are just now the norm. It all comes down to the impact of social media, and I love most social media, you know. I'm very active on Twitter. Of course, my YouTube channel here is been a brilliant platform for me to be able to express and connect and create content regarding Spurs and the Premier League and football in general. However, I do take a little bit of an issue with how frequent updates are now expected to be regarding transfers. And look, I don't want to shoot shots at Fabrizio Romano because he is a fantastic journalist who is brilliant at what he does. I think when a lot of people see him repeating the same things day after day because perhaps not much progress is being made around transfers, it all adds to that anger and aggression that is then released against other people and fans of the same club on platforms like Twitter. I mean, I can only imagine the viewership for transfer deadline day has just plummeted in recent years because people can get all of the information they need from 1 or 2 tweets on Twitter rather than have to watch it and get it live there. However, it does make me think that the raw emotion gets taken out of it from that perspective. I mean, imagine signings just randomly being announced out of nowhere these days. It would be incredible to see how people react. There was a time a couple of years ago when the signing of Yves Bissouma when he came to Tottenham was just, it came completely out of the blue that he'd stayed overnight at the training centre and that he was going to be signing for Tottenham. Fan base went crazy, and rightfully so. He was one of the Premier League's best midfielders at the time. It was a very exciting addition to the squad. However, it's just so rare to see that these days. It's just such a shame because I feel like in years gone by, there is so much excitement around the transfer window, and especially towards the end. And I can understand that you can still get a little bit excited towards the end, or if your club are sort of having a bit of a flurry and signing multiple players around the same time period, but it is nowhere near as good as what it used to be. And again, especially if your club are failing to deliver, it just sets a negative attitude and precedent to the team before the season's even started. Let's use Tottenham as an example. Let's say that they signed Jonathan David for, say, £20 million, and that was their last signing of the summer window. Fans would be furious, and of course, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be, but I'm saying that they would be, and naturally that is going to have a negative effect on how the media puts Tottenham across, and the players will see that as well, even though that it is not their fault, and it's not the manager's fault, because we know that he's been very clear in the players that he wants to bring in. If Daniel Levy fails to deliver, then that's on him with how the attitude towards the squad is perceived, and he knows that it will be negative. positive. Whereas in actual fact, regardless of the signings that you make, every football fan should be fully behind their team going into a new campaign. It's so difficult. And my other point that I want to make is the inflation around the transfer market just makes it 100 times harder to navigate. I mean, when you see the likes of Julian Alvarez going for £80 million to Atletico Madrid, you just sort of question everything. And I'm not saying that Alvarez is not a decent player, because he definitely is. Is he worth £80 million or euros or whatever the transfer currency may be? Not necessarily sure he is. Of course, your counter argument to that is, oh yeah, but he's worth it to the club. He's worth it to Manchester City. Yes, I get that. Ever since that Neymar transfer where PSG paid like nearly 200 million for him, things have just been an absolute mess when it comes to fees. I mean, Dominic Solanke is a good striker, and he was one of the best Premier League strikers last season. He scored 19 goals in the Premier League. But with Bournemouth now valuing him at £65 million, I just feel for someone that has only had one proper good season at the top level, it's crazy. You know, there was also a report going around suggesting that Real Madrid wanted to sign Christian Romero this summer, but Daniel Levy went back and said it's going to cost you 150 million. Okay, he may be worth that to Tottenham in a sense, but realistically, no team is going to pay that money for that player. Prices are just going up and up and up. And if you have a look at Chelsea and some of the young players they're signing for like 30, 40 million pounds or euros a pop, and nobody even knows who they are. I just think overall the transfer window's a bit of a mess at the moment, and I do hope it sort of clears up and reels back into a form of what it used to be. I want to sit down in front of my TV and watch transfer deadline day, and I think I'm going to do that this year. I think what I'll do is put my phone down, stick it on the side, and try not to look at it all day, and just watch transfer deadline day to see what happens. Not have a clue about any deals that are going to be going on, and see who signs who. I just feel like that would be able to help me bring a bit of fun back into the window and enjoy it. But yeah, I apologise for ranting a little bit in this video, but I sort of just wanted to sit down and explain what my issues are with the transfer window and why so many people get frustrated and angry during it. It's not healthy. And like I said, everybody should try and be a bit positive going into the new season. But from Tottenham's perspective, I can let people have a pass. I know there's strengthening that still needs doing, especially in the striker and winger area. Hopefully they do get done eventually. But, you know, as soon as things aren't going our way particularly, people sort of jump the gun and they assume worst case scenario isn't necessarily the case. My suggestion would be, let's just sit back, relax and see what happens. Try and enjoy the last couple of weeks of the transfer window. And if Tottenham sign a striker, brilliant. If they sign a winger, fantastic. If they sign another defender or central midfielder, even better. If they don't, we just have to deal with it, and we have to back what Ange does have at his disposal and hope that he can deliver a really good campaign. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different. I just wanted to get it out there. I will have some Premier League predictions coming your way very soon, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like as well. Yeah, for now, that's it from me. I hope everybody has an amazing weekend, and as always, come on you Spurs.